Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to WizdomDropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. My name is Tonia, and today we are discussing the new moon in Virgo. Yay! Specifically, this new moon is happening on September 17th, early in the day. So we're going to talk about it in this video, and I'm going to show you the chart of the new moon itself, and we're going to interpret it and see what exactly is going on and what you can expect and how you can use this energy to your best advantage. Okay, now there is a lot going on under this new moon, and I'm very excited for it for a few reasons. It's in the sign of Virgo. The ruler of Virgo is Mercury, which is also the ruling planet of where the North Node is in our current heavens for everybody, right? So there's a lot of mercurial themes happening here, which we're going to talk more about. As you can see, I'm honoring the Virgo new moon with all of my plants in the camera shot today, so I hope you enjoy that. I have some significant placements in Virgo myself. But with that said, before I jump into it, make sure if you do want specific horoscopes for your sign that you put that in a comment down below, because this is the time to let me know that you want your horoscope sign done. That's just how I'm working it these days. I'm not going to go through all 12 signs. I'm only going to go through the signs that request it, because I'm here for the community, and if the community is requesting it, I'm here for that. So let me know in the line down below. Also, before I jump into it, a couple quick announcements. Number one, if you're not already subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure you're subscribed. If you are subscribed, thank you, you're awesome. Number two, if you want to learn more savvy cat astrology, you like my style, I am offering a course which I'm beyond excited to be recruiting the cohort for. If you want to join us, schedule a Calendly meeting with me. The link for that is down below, and we'll get you in the process. You know what I'm saying? We're going to figure it out. Last but not least, if you want a reading, deets for that are down below as well. And like the video if it brings you any value by the end of it. All right. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to talk more about what exactly you can expect under this lunation. So, this is the new moon. It's at 24 degrees of Virgo, as you can see here. Note that this little doohickey, which is the part of fortune, is also in Virgo, aka conjunct by sign, okay? So that's a great indicator that we could actually be experiencing some successful positive outcomes under this, which is very exciting, okay? Because the part of fortune is how you can use skill to get economize, you know, your gifts and your skills. It's how you use skill to gain benefits in the world, and it has almost a mercurial association because of that. Now, let us not forget that it's transiting Virgo, the sign ruled by Mercury, along with Gemini, of course. But there's like a double dose, in other words, of like your skills can make you money. You can figure out ways for your skill to make you money, or to just come across better fortune or circumstances, or just joy-inducing kind of like prosperous energy, which doesn't always come in the form of money, right? So that's an omen for us all to consider. But let's pay attention to what is happening in terms of planetary conversations with this new moon. We already see it's at 24 degrees, but look, it's sending a nice trine, really nice trine over here to Jupiter from the new moon itself. More exactly, Pluto and Saturn, both of which are still retrograde. Jupiter is not, thankfully, you know, so basically, you know, what does that mean? This is the collapse and rebuilding, reconstruction of society, the Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter conjunction. You've been hearing about this for eons. If you're listening to any astrologer who's worth anything on the internet, we've been talking about this. This is the mega conjunction, the great conjunction, you know, and that's already gone exact, but it's definitely still in play because it's in the same sign, okay? Whole sign counts for conjunction, friends. In ancient astrology, pay attention. Not to mention Pallas Athena is here. So the people are learning how to liberate their own inner Xena warrior princess in relationship to Capricornian themes, which Capricorn's ruled by what planet? Saturn, which is currently still here. So the collapse, the reconstruction, the death and rebirth. Pluto is death and rebirth. Saturn is construction. The construction of the death and rebirth of society as we know it, of the old ways. And by old ways, I mean the modern old ways, the hierarchical, corporate, government, bureaucratic ways, that is Capricorn in this instance, are being reconstructed, you know? And so that's good though, because look at the aspect, y'all, between this new moon. Positive vibes to all of that. So there's new beginnings here. The sun and the moon together is mother, divine father, the sun, divine mother, moon, coming together in union. It's like an egg, a fertilized egg is a new moon, you know, it's like a zygote, a unicellular human being is the new moon. So it's a new beginning, and Virgo-ish themes, which are all in relationship to Earth, and it's having this beautiful trine expression to another Earth sign. Obviously, it's a trine, so it's going to be the same element, right? Capricorn. And that means that there's support to be had in this transformation of society, in this death and rebirth that we're all going through. There's support for us all. There's a new beginning on offer. And let's use relational house systems for a second. This death and rebirth of society, put that in the first house, Capricorn. From Capricorn, Virgo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 signs from Capricorn, which means that there's a new belief system being born, a potential for that. If you've been working on your faith, if you need a rebalance in your faith, and your faith in relationship to earthly matters, and your faith in relationship to how to turn your skill into money-making matters, this is a great time to use that energy wisely to grow those themes in your life. Because Mercury is here as the ruling dispositor of this new moon. And not only that, but where's Mercury transiting, y'all? Boom. Second house from this first house of Virgo that the new moon is happening in. It's in the second house, which is finances, money, family, very close family. Second house is what you own. It's your belongings. It's everything that comes after you, yourself and you, right? Everything that comes after that is your second house. It's also, however, the place of insecurity. But look, check it out, check it out, check it out. The second house, while it might be a place of insecurity because there's no visible aspect to the first house, that's why it's like not the strongest house necessarily, right? But to a lesser extent than the 12th house or any of these other houses that we don't necessarily love. You know, I digress. Point being, Mercury's in good dignity. That's what I want to draw your attention to. It's in Libra. It's a fantastic place for Mercury. Mercury loves being in Libra. Mercury and Libra people natally are just so freaking beautiful in their speech. You could fall in love with them. I know I do. Mercury and Libra people are just gorgeous speakers. They're very diplomatic. They know how to get a point across in a way that's just really lovely, but to the point. You know, I heard an astrologer recently say the old joke about Aries and Libra. Libra is Aries in a pretty dress. So Libra knows how to like get the point across, but in the most diplomatic, kind way. It's kind of like telling somebody how to go to hell, but having them enjoy the process of you telling them that, right? So anyway, Mercury and Libra is giving us all a certain degree of balance. And, you know, the trick about Libra energy is that it's known as the scales and the balance, but it's not balanced. Its inherent oxymoron is that it's not balanced, which is why it's always trying to balance, right? So you put Mercury there. Mercury's the planet of intellect, thought, conscious, problem solving, intellect, right? You put that in Libra, and that's a great place for Mercury, because Mercury is a very brainy creature, a very brainy god, you know, or goddess, depending on the gender association. Mercury can go either way, by the way. But you know, it's a really good place for Mercury. So Mercury is the dispositor of the new moon, and she is in really good dignity being in the sign of Libra. Now, granted, Mercury is having some square aspects here, okay, to Pluto. You see those red lines on the screen, to Pluto and Saturn, okay. So it's harsh, you know, but the squares are ultimately manifestations, and this could be read at a higher vibration. This chart could be understood that we are coming up with solutions from brain places, from thinking places, from logic oriented places, from creative mind places, because Neptune is a key player in this new moon, right? That are solution oriented in how we tangibly deal with earth signs, activation, commence. Capricorn over here with the Sirius planets, Virgo over here with the new moon itself. The child is growing, the zygote is growing out of Virgo, right? Those tangible solutions to meet those issues. So we're using Libra wit, Libra intellect. Libra is a very intelligent sign, okay? In addition to being graceful, we're using that force is with us at this time, okay? To solve these issues in relation to society and how to cope and how to live within them, and to reboost our faith. I see a lot of us being reboosted in our faith in society in some way, shape, or form, or in our own societies, our own smaller societies that we're creating, because this is the 9th house from Capricorn, using relational house system, and that's the collapse and reconstruction of society right now. So all of that aside, let's touch more on this Neptune. You get the gist so far. Let's go over here to this Neptune, shall we? Neptune is opposing, straight up opposition status. You see that red line? Boom. It's like, damn, I ain't playing. Why ain't Neptune playing? Because Neptune is opposite the new moon, which means what? There's something in relationship to partnerships, in relationship to relationships, if you will, that needs us to pay attention to it. That's a spiritual teacher coming into your life that's asking you, hey, pay attention. That's in a lower vibration, a manipulator that's in your life that's saying, hey, you need to put some attention here, you're going to get taken advantage of. Because Neptune is the planet of illusion. It's the planet that puts on facade, and it's the chameleon. It's the magician in this regard. It puts on an air of whatever you want it to think it is, and you will think it is that, especially if your third eye ain't wide open. And it's in Pisces, so it's strong. It can do whatever it wants. It's Neptune, okay? And it's in its own sign, Pisces. So it's in opposition with this new moon. Be aware of manipulators. Be aware of gaslighters. Be aware of people who are trying to tell you something is a way, then you know it ain't that way. Be aware that your perceptions of other people right now might be a little illusionary. I don't want to scare you. I'm just giving you the heads up. You know, better forewarned is forearmed, as the adage goes. But on a positive level, let's put our energy there as well. We have to be aware of the negative potentials, but also we can't stay and live in that space or we end up creating the hell that we're trying to avoid. So be aware at a higher vibration, my friend, that Neptune opposition to this new moon could be symbolic of a spiritual teacher coming into your life. It could be symbolic of higher spiritual knowledge of some form that you're gaining access to. Maybe you're learning astrology, for example. Maybe you found a really good counselor. Neptune is also the planet of compassionate healers, okay? Maybe you found a really good energy worker to work with and it feels really aligned. This is a new beginning. This heralds a new beginning, this new moon in Virgo. It's a beginning stage. It's a growing phase, right? It's something that is coming into fruition throughout time. And whatever you cast now, whatever happens in the next week, for you into the next 2 weeks even, is going to have a whole different ripening once we get to that other full moon that we're about to see, right, in 2 weeks more time. So be aware that you could have some of that come up in relationships, for better or for worse. Spiritual, regardless of the situation. Let me just summarize that for you. Neptune is retrograde. See the little R next to it? It's retrograde. Anytime a planet is retrograde, it's 3 times as intense. And, you know, Mars is still retrograde, and it's squaring off with the societal decline, death, and rebirth thing. And so is Uranus. We're firmly in retrograde season. You know, Pluto, Saturn, all these guys, gals are in retrograde. So with that said, you know, pay attention to your intuition. Go within. Retrograde is 3 times as intense. It requires 3 times the amount of effort, but check it out, check it out, check it out. The effort is not necessarily external when you have retrogradations. You have the need to go inside 3 times as much. Retrograde is like the opposite of what it normally is. If normal is an outward expression for you, you need to go within. If normal is an inward expression for you all the time, you're an extreme introvert edition, then maybe it's time to go without a little bit in your processing. Retrograde is reversal. It's the changing of how things normally flow for you. So keep that in mind, that up is down and down is up and back is forward and forward is back. We're in Alice in Wonderland, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like even more than usual under this retrograde season. So just be aware of that, friend. If you feel, especially with Mars retrograde, that's fresh energy and it's going to be here a while. If you feel the need to do something opposite of how you normally do it, that's okay. Listen to that intuition, because Neptune is here activating your intuition. Pay attention to your intuition on offer. To summarize the Neptune point for you, Neptune is here for you to help you, but if you don't pay attention, it will harm you. And sometimes help comes through people who actually are trying to harm you, and it's honing your ability to process and address that sort of energy. So I want you to be aware of the energy. We are having a lot of energy on offer under this new moon. I'm seeing a lot of energy on offer for us to process, and our gateway to processing, you know, is through the mind. Oftentimes in spiritual communities, we hear it's not through the mind, it's through the body, or it's not through the mind, it's through the soul. That's great, that's fine, that's more often than not, I would agree, probably more accurate. But look at the new moon, look at the screen, see what's happening right now. This access into the higher dimensions is through where the mind meets intuition. Mercury ruled signs, Virgo and Gemini, are all brains all day. You know what I'm saying? So pay attention to that, because how do you access the higher levels in this instance? It's not always through your brain. I need to just make sure you hear me say that. Under this new moon, It is. Under this new moon, it is through your thoughts. It is through things that come to you. It might not even be like you sitting down to intentionally have some headspace, although it might be. But it could very well be through these psychic kind of downloads, because Neptune is in opposition. And it's intense aspect, sure, but opposition is always psychological. Opposition aspect, 180 degrees, is always a psychological aspect. And it's always relational as well. So it's you and another person, or you and your relationships in general. You and the other, you know what I'm saying? First and seventh, opposite axis. So pay attention to that. Oppositions are also about learning things through time and processing, because they're associated with Saturn energy, whereas Mars is associated with squares. And while we're on the topic of Mars, we're gonna like kind of gear towards the closure of this video by kind of talking a little bit more about Mars. And let's see what Venus is doing. Yeah, we're gonna definitely touch on Venus, because Venus is squaring Uranus. That's more of my like cautionary energy for you, friend. Venus is square Uranus. Relationships could go anywhere real quick. Relationships could go anywhere that you just didn't even expect real quick. So this is further supporting the narrative. In astrology, we always tally things up. You know, this is happening, so therefore this could happen. Not just like one thing. It's usually you want to look for a theme. Look, I'm saying relationships can go anywhere that you did not expect real quick, because Venus is the planet that rules relationships and is inherently associated with the 7th house, where we already see Neptune is in opposition to the new moon, okay, in Virgo. Now check it out. Venus as a planet is squaring Uranus by 2 degrees. That's a tight orb. The ancients paid a special attention to within 3-degree orb. This is a 2-degree orb, so we're paying attention, okay? Understand that. And this is square between the planet of surprise, Uranus, lightning, Uranus, severance out of nowhere, Uranus. You know, Uranus has incredible impact in astrology. It's the divine awakener, but it's also the radical. It's the energy associated with Aquarius in modern astrology, because it is this punk rock kind of vibe. There's no kind of to it. It is. It's the punk rock rebel vibe. And Mars is creeping ever so closely. You know, by the end of this year, we're going to start to see Mars entering Taurus. And then we're really going to have a party, because Mars and Uranus are going to be conjunct. And that will be punk rock revival of planet Earth, Gaia. Mark my words, Taurus. I am so excited. Can we end these wildfires, please, and reclaim the sacred planet that is our home, Earth? Please and thank you. Amen. Ashe. So mote it be. You feel? But what I'm getting at in the terms of this transit for this new moon, just to rewind and back it up to like where we're at right now, relationships can go anywhere. Unpredictable energy. Neptune can be through deceit or through spiritual download and realization of who you're actually dealing with. Uranus can be the need to randomly sever this person. And it could be a for real sever, because it's a square. Square, it's not the most like relational aspect. That's more of the opposition, right? But it is the tangible manifestation, okay, aspect. Squares, 90 degrees, ancient world knowledge. Ancient Egypt taught us this. Square aspect is manifesting energy. Vedic astrology will back me up with that. Square aspect is when things happen. They happen tangibly in the world. Relationships squaring Uranus. Relationships can go anywhere. You could lose somebody, God forbid, goddess forbid, through a terrible act, but it could also be through a substance abuse act. Somebody overdoses and they're out of your life. It could be like somebody's been gaslighting you, Neptune, another, not substance abuse, but say they're gaslighting you, Neptune, and you need to cut them out of your life, Venus square Uranus. There's a lot of different ways that this can play out, okay? But likewise, it could be through tenser means or circumstances. Somebody who is an awakener comes into your life, reading the 90-degree angle a little more positively. But it's going to be, again, through tension, through issue. Why? Because it's a 90-degree angle, and that can't be avoided. 90-degree angle is tension. I'm not trying to sugarcoat nothing, honey bun. I'm trying to tell you, vegan honey bun, because it's not cool to exploit the bees, you know what I'm saying? But point being, it's like basically, you know, you want to watch out for changes in that. And it's going to be okay if it happens, because it's divinely orchestrated. Never forget. What I want you to remember, though, is that Mercury is the force. If you want to focus on a force, focus on thoughts and intuition. That's where spirit wants you to be right now. It wants you to be in your thoughts around your trade, around your skill, around your craft, around what you have to offer, around your brain power, The sign of Virgo is all about earthly matters as well. Have you been thinking of like growing something? Now is the time to plan for it. If not in your hemisphere, actually start growing it. Get a house plant under this new moon. Work with that house plant to manifest something you want to grow. Like grow your intention with the plant. Get real witchy with it. Virgo is all that. Virgo is herbalists, it's witches, it's shamans in the plant realm of things, in the crystal realm of things. That all belongs to Virgo, baby. Scorpio ain't the only one. You know what I'm saying? Virgo is the medicine keeper. Virgo understands the plant substances, the earthly plane, and the application of that through nutrition, through herbalism. That is all Virgo all day. So pay attention to this, because the opportunity is available to grow those things right now and to grow your intentions around that. And I just think there's a lot of interesting energy here. And let us not forget that the North Node is over here in Gemini, and it's telling us we need to pay attention to what's going on with Mercury. We need to look to Mercury to help us get out of this sticky situation with society. And Mercury's squaring off with that sticky situation in society. The Pluto, Saturn conjunction over there, as you can see by the red lines indicating squares right now on the screen, in Capricorn. But the way out is always through Mercury, because Mercury, and I know I'm saying like a little bit contradicting because it's not always through the mind, but let us not forget Mercury transits water signs as well, where its information is accessed more through the emotion and the energetic expression of it all. So what I am saying is that the solution may always very well be said lie through mercurial ventures. That was a bit of an awkward sentence, but Mercury is always the way out, in real simple terms, in one way or another. Because I don't know what's up with my random New York accent under this video, but it just is. So hopefully you can deal with it. But Mercury is the way to go, because this new moon is the planetary ruler of Virgo, or the dispositor is Mercury, and Mercury is in the second house from that new moon. So it's all about building something with your family, realizing, thinking about your family and the value that they bring you, realizing where maybe you or they have been a little off kilter or too extreme one way or another and need to come back and balance. That's another theme, because Mercury's in the sign of Libra, the scales, you know what I'm saying? Lady Justice in the house, no, but for real, pay attention to Mercury, pay attention to your spirituality, because Neptune is opposite this new moon, and it's asking you to put your spiritual energy and your mind energy together to bring them into some form of union. Okay, I think that's going to serve you if you do that. So there's a lot I could always say, but I think I'm going to wrap it up. Before you leave, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, because what the heck are you doing with your life if you're not? And like the video if it brought you any value. Leave me a little comment down below, a little like, I love you, but no like crazy, like, not like a low vibe way, more like, oh my God, I love astrology kind of way. Also, yeah, if you want to learn from me in my astrology course and like be mentored by me, I'm available for that. Deets down below. And with that said, till next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.